the Bowman Road Paving Assessment Project at a total cost of $486,572.45, or a maximum assessment of $9,307.04 per equivalent residential unit. Of the total possible votes, 41 or 51% responded to the petition. There were 15 respondents, or 37% in favor, and 26 or 63% against the project. This is the project limits. As you can see, everyone that was able to be pulled in through the requirements of the methodology was pulled in to the project. Construction ends here and begins out here at US 41. We have the railroad tracks and the bypass, Swiftmutts bypass canal right here. All of these parcels are being assessed at 100% rate, and the blue is at 50% because of the dual access. There's really nothing on the south side other than the Crossbar Ranch well fields. So, I mean, and near Booming right here, where that pole is where the road will stop, because there's only 25 foot of right-of-way on the south side, and we acquired that from Pinellas County when we acquired the southern 25 foot of this road. And I have to give the real estate department the credit for staying on top of that and getting that right-of-way. I believe it took 3 years for us to get that right-of-way from Pinellas.
And Mr. Brown, a question was brought up, and I think at least 3 of us were looking at it, and sure all of us were, but why to the south isn't the Crossbar Ranch paying anything?
The methodology prohibits the assessment of any government entity, federal, state, county, or local.
I did reach out to the Pinellas County Administrator, Mark Woodard, when I started receiving emails regarding this matter from you and from the residents, and asked them if they wanted to make a good neighbor contribution. Mr. Woodard did some research, and unbeknownst to me, but as identified by his staff, at the request of Mr. Gallagher, they donated the right-of-way already for this road. So they donated in the neighborhood of about 6 acres of right-of-way for this road, for the intention of this road to be paved. So if you value that at, $15,000 an acre, they've already made a $90,000 plus or minus donation to the benefit of this project in order to allow it to be paved. And I had David run a rough estimate of what their assessment would be, and that number was?
It was just over $30,000 because of the zoning on it.
So with the donation of the right-of-way, they've actually contributed more than they would have been assessed if they were to be assessed.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Schrader.
Yeah, we also received a petition, and in the petition, they're claiming that this is Pinellas County's main access. Well, that's not accurate. Their main access is Lockett Road. Lockett Road is the road that they use to take the logs out, the pine straw out. At one time, they actually had a security guard there. And if they're not doing it,
hang on, you'll get a chance to speak.
If they're not doing it now, I can assure you that things can be worked out, that the trucks are exiting Lockett Road, and they don't use this road because the residents are going to be the ones and the county bearing the cost of the improvements. It's a little bit different in some of our paving assessments because there are a few that exceed $10,000. Maybe you could elaborate a little bit more on the methodology behind how y'all came up with that.
On how we came up with
On the additional payment schedule, because I guess some of them are repaying over 10 years and some over 15 years.
That's correct. When back in October of last year, whenever the board told us to bring this forward for a public hearing, the decision was made at that meeting to assess any spread or give a repayment period to anyone whose assessment was $10,000 or less, 10 years as normal, and anyone that was over $10,000, a 15-year repayment period.
Yeah, I think that's.
And that's what we follow.
Right.
Ron Nickerson.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. At 73 years of age, I'm still somewhat intact of mind and body. Mr. Schrader, you said that they weren't using Bowman Road for the logging trucks?
So what I said was that their main access is Lockett Road, and if they're not
We
using
had
it,
over, sir, we had over 200 log trucks up and down Bowman Road.
okay.
We live there, we know what's going up and down that road.
I don't,
I'm here to discuss fairness overall,
Okay.
totally fairness. For 30 years as a federal agent with the United States government, our agency worked upon fairness where we could and where it was called for. What I'm seeing here is that we have homeowners who are now retired, who are now on fixed income, who have not the income strata they had once had, now being asked to assume a second mortgage with $18,000, with $6,000, with $8,000, with whatever the assessment may be. This creates an undue hardship on these people. We are not an economically strong-based community out there. The average worker living out there is not in the ivory tower outfit. They're laborers. They're construction people. They don't have that kind of economic strength. We need to reassess what we're going to do to these people. Because right now, they're going to be hamstrung and hurt by the paving of this structure without the involvement of Pinellas County. I'm going to be real brief on Pinellas County. You folks in the commission found it within your purview to invite Pinellas County to pay property taxes. You asked Mike Buzzano to go ahead and collect the $59,000, whatever the amount was, and Mike did so. However, I can't see this being two ways. You can't cherry pick A and then let B just walk away. That's not how it goes. If you're going to, the special assessment, and it's again within your purview as county commissioners, to be able to delegate this as an undue hardship and offer to assess Pinellas County in the entirety as they should be. 6 acres when they have over a mile of frontage on Bowman Road. This seems very, very, it's just not right. You got a little guy down on the corner of Bowman who's being assessed, what, $18,000? $20,000. You got another man with a small farm just across the railroad tracks being assessed 18 down the line. It's just too damn much for it. I'm sorry. It's just too much. I'm going to end my introduction here with just one thought. Fairness is what our people are looking for out there. There are those who may be opposed to the paving. There are those on the other side who welcome the paving. What they're all in unity on is the fair share of the paying of the paving. And we're not seeing that.
Sharon Lynn Buffington. And then Edward Cole after that.
Pinellas County owns 16,500 acres. These people own 5 on Bowman Road, and they were assessed over 18,000. Okay, I don't see where the relationship is. The Property Tax Office and the Tax Collector's Office of Pasco and the Pasco County Commissioners have classified Pinellas County as a property owner, okay, in its relationship to the Crossbar and Albar ranches, for it is outside of the jurisdiction and purview of a governing body. 017 paving ordinance basically says property owners with boundaries, access, and special benefits from the improvements are to be assessed. Because they gave up so much property, okay, Kim Marks, the Child Care Center, Tommy all gave up property, and they're not compensated. That if Pinellas County comes in, okay, and they are assessed under agricultural residential, it's fair. Okay, but if they're assessed at one house per 10 acres and we are assessed at one house per acre, it'll give us almost 9 times the amount to pay. Okay, I hope that you will make a fair decision. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have put a summary of my comments in the letter, which I'll give to the county commissioners. When we bought our property, it was rural Route 5, Bowman Road. We were informed by the seller and affirmed by Chelsea Title Company that the property was zoned to allow only one house per 5 acres. Now we're being told, and a second house could be built, but only if it's for family members. Now we're being told that because 4 houses could be built on it, that we are being assessed for 4 houses.
Together, they add up to 9.4 acres. Their index numbers are 2 and 57 on that, and they're highlighted. They were assessed at $18,148.72 and $2,303.49. When combined with the 4.5% interest rate, that is an additional $156 a month for a total of $28,162, and that is. Secondly, we contacted the Inspector General of Pinellas. Rick Elder here spoke with Ronald Peters. We told him our situation, and he said, interesting, in the contract of land management of Crossbar Albar Ranch, it is their responsibility to do the entrance road maintenance. It has been their responsibility the whole time, ever since November 2nd of 1992. And I have that information in Exhibit 3. Management of Crossbar is responsible to, and if you put that up at a later page, it actually says that they are required to grade the road once a month. And I think Pasco County has been grading it. On March 30th of 1993, March 30th of 1993, Pinellas County deeded a major portion of Bowman Road to Pasco for the nominal fee of $1 on both Agenda 32 and Agenda 14. It says this happened back in 1993. I don't know why this was a big deal for the last 3 years, but Pinellas County can do this. Why can't we use our one-time property split and do this same thing and sell the parcel close to Bowman Road back for $1, following Pinellas County's lead? We don't want to do this, but if this isn't fair, we got that, we'll try to follow Pinellas County's lead on this.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Heights. I live off of Booming Road, which is about a mile down Bowman, and I must be the lone person here who is for the paving project. My parents, I moved back in with them about 2 months ago after I graduated college, and in that short time, I can't take it. I don't know, I understand the financial hardship, but it really would tax on your sanity at one point. I have to hose off the back of my car every day because the dust will stick to it and completely obscure my visibility every day. If the paving was not going to cost the area homeowners a dime, I am certain there would be no opposition to this project. Unfortunately, this is not the case, and like everything, this too has a price. It is worth it.
My name's Thomas Collard. I live on 21815 Bowman Road.
Speak back to this gentleman, please line up behind him. Thank you.
My name is John Stuper, 21705 Bowman Road. What everybody agrees on is the road needs to be paved. Nobody came up here and said, we don't need to pave this road. It needs to be paved. The only question is, are people willing to pay for it? A lot of people are willing to pay for it, and some people aren't willing to pay for it. That's the only question here. Things like this can seem expensive, but in the end, it's an investment to your property, just like any other investment, whether you're stuccoing it, adding an addition, or whatever you're doing. That that $18,000 investment or $5,000 or $20,000, whatever it is, will be an asset to the property. I have lived there a short time, but I am amazed at the amount of dust that floats around, and it sits on the trees and it looks like it snowed.
Hello, my name is Terry Pritchard, and I'm representing my wife Juliana Pritchard, my brother Carl Pritchard, and William Chappell from properties 18304 and 18330 Booming Road. I want the board to hear why the approval of paving Bowman Road is of great importance.
Before you go, I need your address, please.
18304 Booming Road.
Thank you.
Shirley Rayleigh, and I'm at 21826 Hardcastle Road, and I'm representing my husband, Johnny Rayleigh, and I. And I've got just a few points I'd like to submit this letter. I personally believe the money that I save on my vehicles is going to pay my assessment. And I just thank you very, very much for thinking about and hopefully approving Bowman Road to be paved.
Hello, Commissioners. I'm Martin Heights. I'm at 18145 Booming Road. And you should see that road. That's really bad. And wanting the assessments to be fair. And I agree with that, too. I can't deny that we don't all want to be assessed fairly. But this is progress. This does need to be done, you know, and the longer it's put off, it's a win-win for the county as well as the homeowner as far as property potential resale value.
Afternoon. Judy Ballantyne. I'm at 18320 Booming Road. And I also represent my husband and my daughter and my son-in-law. We all live at the house.
You can pull that mic down. You can pull that down.
Okay.
There you go.
What is you?
Yes, my name is Ronald Bittersicki, and I am that parcel on the corner of 41 and Bowman Road, 18036 US 41. As you notice, it said US 41. I don't have an access on Bowman Road, and yet for the past 30 years, I've been dusted by all of these people, all of them, hundreds of times a day, and yet I would rather eat the dust than pay this kind of money for nothing that I'm benefiting.
Good afternoon. My name is George Dumsdorf, and I'm representing Daniel Priff and Sharon Tundreau of 21818 Hardcastle and 21738 Hardcastle, and I have an affidavit here allowing me to speak on their behalf. There are questions that they have as to who will be responsible for the cost of repair after the log trucks have torn the place up. Is that going to be put back on to the homeowners again, or will the county pick up that cost? Has that been determined?
I'm going to make a suggestion that the county administrator reach out to the interim county administrator in Pinellas County and see what we can do to direct those trucks to go to Lockett Road,
Absolutely.
which is their primary access, and just prohibit them from using this road. So I think that request needs to be made immediately, regardless of what the outcome of this is today.
So again, I'd say that both Mr. Priff and Ms. Tundreau are in favor of the resurfacing as long as Pinellas County pays their fair share. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's all that I see for public comment.
See how we can expect Pinellas County to contribute any more than they've already done. There's debate as to their ability to put 12,400 homes out there, which they can't do. And I think it's one house per 40 acres is what the FLU map allows for, and they've got some conservation. So I'm sure Mr. Brown has done, all that homework, but it's in my district, and I will then move approval of the recommendation with the modification then to include a 15-year payback period at the same interest rate as opposed to the 10-year payback period for those that are less than 10,000.